ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। So we are doing Drg Drashya Viveka, and in that at present we are doing different kind of samadhis. We are having discussion on different kinds of samadhis. We have seen so far three kinds of samadhis, which are they? Savikalpa and Nirvikalpa. Savikalpa samadhi is twofold: Drishyanuvidya Savikalpa samadhi and Shabdanuvidya Savikalpa samadhi. We have discussed all this at length. Samadhi means absorption of the mind in the truth, in the self. How does that happen? So, in the beginning, you require aid of something. Here, aid of two things are mentioned, which are they? Drishya and Shabda. So, still it is called Savikalpa Samadhi, because so far or yet you require the aid of either some words or some drishya. Some thoughts are required, and this is carried out in the mind. So when you are sitting with yourself, mind is taking the help of some shabda, some drishya. In Drishyanuvidya Samadhi, Drishyanuvidya Savikalpa Samadhi, in that mind needs to take the help of some drishya. What is this drishya? This drishya is in the form of certain kind of thoughts. Thoughts are appearing in the mind, and now you tell yourself, in the sense that this kind of understanding should be there, that thoughts are there, yes, but I am the prakashaka, I am the illuminator of those thoughts. Thoughts are because of me. I illumine the thought. There is a distance between the illuminator and that which is illumined. The illuminator or the prakashaka need not be disturbed or get distracted by what is illumined. It is different from him, inasmuch as subject and object are different. So in this way, the thoughts which are appearing bring you back to yourself when you think in this manner, and which is a fact also, that this drishyas, these different thoughts, regardless of what they are, whether they are sattvic or of rajas, or these thoughts are characterized by tamas, in the sense that there may be thoughts which can, which can make you feel lazy, which brings about which the thought may be of anger or laziness, some violence is there. So thought pertaining to this kind of thing also may be there, or the thought may be rajas, in the sense that the thought is pertaining to some activity, some engagement. This kind of thought may be there. or the thought may be very sattvic, which you may want to hold on to, and the thought pertaining to tamas, if the tamasic thought is there, you may want to get rid of it. But no, here you have to tell yourself that that is the thought, that is drishya. I am not that. I am the drashta. I am prakashaka, and that is prakashya. So in that way, bring yourself back from the drashya to the drashta. The focus should be on the drashta and the truth of the drashta. But here the help is taken of the drishya. So with the help of the drishya, you come back to the reality of the drashta, that is Atma or Chaitanya. So this is Drishyanu with the Savikalpa Samadhi. Savikalpa because still thoughts are there, some duality is there, the thinker is there, thought is there, and the connection between the two is there. So it is called Savikalpa Samadhi. But which one? Drishyanuvidya. Then the other one was Shabdanuvidya Savikalpa Samadhi. Here you are taking the help of some words. Which words? Words of the Vedanta, words of Upanishads, statements of Upanishads, which reveal, which throw light upon the true nature of the self. So this kinds of words, this kinds of statements are taken. With the help of those statements, you contemplate upon the self. Aham niranjanah, aham shantah, aham anandah, anandoham, asangoham, nirihoham. So this kind of the words which help you contemplate upon what the self is. So you take help of these words, contemplate upon that, and these words bring you to yourself. So in Drishyanuvidya Samadhi, with the help of the Drishya, you come back to the Drashta, to the Atma, and in Shabdanuvidya, with the help of the words, statements of the Shruti, you come back to yourself. This, in both of this, Vikalpa is there. So far it is Savikalpa Samadhi. Then, in the last verse which we took last time, in verse number 26, it was said, it discussed the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the third one. Then because of the force of this, because of doing this for a long time, and because of gaining some familiarity and expertise in that, what happens? You begin to like it. Then a time comes, you are so familiar with the self that even the words are dropped and the thoughts get dropped. Now no more you need the crutches in the form of thoughts or in the form of words. You don't need the drishya also, and no more the words, the shabdas are also not required. So it is said, drishya shabdan anupekshituhu. Automatically he doesn't now anymore pay attention to that. Without the aid of that, he is in the self because of the familiarity. So the first word is Swanubhuti Rasa Veshad. Because of the Avesha, a momentum is gathered. So far he has been doing this for a long time, and because of that, familiarity is gained with the self. He is now familiar with what the self is, and he enjoys in the self, in the sense that he is comfortable with the self as it is. And this is called nirv. And so he, when the words and the thoughts, everything gets dropped. Mind totally merges in the self. There is no thought at all now. All this happens. He does not drop the thought on his own, it gets dropped. So that much role is also not there. The role of a dropper, that I want to quit the thoughts, or I don't want to look at the drishya or the shabda, that much Consciousness is also not there. What I am trying to say is that it gets dropped. It happens. Will is not called for over there. It happens on its own and effortlessly he is now in the self. So this is called nirvikalpa samadhi. This happens, and here for this the author gives the example of, he compares it with Nivata Sthita Deepavata. What is this like? The simile is given. What is it? Nivata Sthita Deepavata. It is like a lamp. Deepa, what kind of deepa? Nivata Sthita Deepavata. It is like a lamp placed in a windless place. There is no breeze anywhere. Oxygen is there, but there is no breeze, and the lamp is placed there. Then the lamp maintains its light without fluttering on any side. It just remains there. Similarly, now the mind is merged in Atma, and what remains over there is nothing but the self. Mind is not destroyed, but it ceases to bring about thoughts because it is totally composed. So far, mind was going out because of the need, because of the agitation inside, because it was not comfortable with itself. That comfort was not there. So there was a need to run out, maybe attracted outside, or because of that restlessness inside. All this were the causes for the mind to run out. But now, having known the reality and having found the comfort in that, because he has been practicing this meditation for a long time, now he is totally composed with the self. And so when all this thing gets dropped, he doesn't even know. This is called nirvikalpaha samadhi. Here duality is no more there. There is no thinker, thought, and the thinking that is not there. Thinker, thought and thinking, this triad, this triputi is not there. Now what remains is just one. We cannot even call him thinker, because we use this word thinker with reference to the object of thought. But that is also no more there. So he is now no more a thinker. That role is also not there. That is not there. What remains is just Chaitanya, Paramanandam. So this is what is called nirvikalpa samadhi. This is, in Yoga Shastra, Patanjali Maharaj talks about this a lot. Even this is discussed in Yoga Vasishta. There is a text called, there is a chapter, in fact a huge chapter called Yoga Vasishta. It appears in Ramayana. And that is the discussion or dialogue between Vasishta and Lord Rama. And it is at that time that Vasishta Rishi gives all this education to Lord Rama, to Prince Rama, because at that time he was just 16 or 17, and he developed dispassion. And at that time he asks different questions to Vasishta, his teacher, and he enlightens him in this matter. So it is called Yoga Vasishta. This discussion appears, and so many beautiful verses are there about this nirvikalpa samadhi. But in Yoga Shastra, this is referred to as asampragnata samadhi. What we understand as Nirvikalpa Samadhi is referred to in Patanjali Yoga Sutras as Asampragnata Samadhi. And what we discussed here as Savikalpa Samadhi is known as Sampragnata Samadhi. So they call it Sampragnata and Asampragnata Samadhi. Sampragnata Samadhi means with Savikalpa Samadhi, and Asampragnata Samadhi means Nirvikalpa Samadhi. This is just for your knowledge that I am saying. Asampragnata Samadhi is same as Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And there a beautiful verse appears which I just wanted to tell you about it. In Yoga Vasishta, there is a verse pertaining to this Nirvikalpa Samadhi where it is mentioned as Prashanta Vrittikam Chittam Paramananda Deepakam Asampragnatam Asampragnata Namayam Samadhihi Yoginam Priyaha. There it is said that Yoginam Priyaha. Yogis, it is very lovable to yogis. What? This Asampragnata Namayam Samadhi. This Samadhi which has the name called Asampragnata Samadhi, which means Nirvikalpa Samadhi, where that is described here as Prashanta Vrittikam Chittam. What happens at that time is Chitta, the mind is totally resolved. It has become totally calm. It is not destroyed. Because once when he will get up from Nirvikalpa Samadhi, he will again do whatever he has to do. He will go out and talk with people, go for bhiksha or whatever. So, for that mind is required. So, mind as a faculty is not destroyed. But at the moment, all the agitation of the mind, all of that is totally merged. Mind just doesn't need to function now. So it is resolved totally in its cause, in its truth. So, and now what is there? Prashanta Vrittikam Chittam. What is there is nothing but Prashanti. Prashanti means total peace. What remains is nothing but silence, total silence. Chitta has become Chitta. See, there is, you just understand the difference between Chitta and Chitta. Chitta, when there is double T, it is Chitta, and that means mind. What has this Chitta now become? When it gets totally resolved in Chitta. Chitta means consciousness. So that one T has gone, we can say. So Chitta is totally resolved in Chitta. Chitta means consciousness. Satchit Ananda we say. So that is Chitta. That is Atma. That is Chaitanya. So mind is now resolved in consciousness. Paramananda Deepakam. And what does it now reveal? Nothing but Paramananda. Mind is happy, or mind is totally, it is totally resolved in Paramananda. In Paramananda Deepakam, what now remains is nothing but a lamp of Paramananda, nothing but Ananda. What is this known as? Asampragnata Samadhi. And yogis love this very much. They look forward to this, and every so often they have this kind of samadhi, which means they become just the self. So this is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And there are beautiful verses in Yoga Vasishta regarding this. A very famous verse which you all must have heard is Antashunyaha Bahishunyaha Shunya Kumbha Iva Ambare Antaf Purnaha Bahish Purnaha Purna Kumbha Iva Arnave. If you remember, there is a custom in our tradition that when the sannyasis come at your doorstep, then you receive them with a pot full of water, and this is to indicate that you are full inside and outside, just like a pot which is dipped in the water. When a pot is dipped in the water in the ocean, then it is full inside plus full outside, showing that you are like that. You are nothing but Atma, which is full in every way. Or when Antashunyah Bahishunyah, when the pot is kept in the space, then outside also it is Shunya, inside also Shunya, which means that you are totally bereft of Anatma and you are totally full in yourself. This is a very famous verse with which you receive a sannyasi. When they come, then you welcome them in this manner, just to show that they are all full. So we value them and we respect them in that manner. So these are the few verses, beautiful verses occurring in Yoga Vasishta with reference to Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Plus, now, we love this Nirvikalpa Samadhi, but we should also understand that there are many obstacles to that. It is not an easy thing. There are many obstacles, and acharyas, teachers in our tradition have pointed out this the kind of obstacles which you face. Which you face means which the mind encounters. For the mind to get totally resolved in the self is not an easy thing. And there are many pitfalls, many obstacles on the way. And that is why we find even Arjuna may not have that, but we find him asking this in Bhagavad Gita to Lord Krishna. Chanchalam hi manah Krishna. He says, my mind is too restless. Because what happens, in 6th chapter, Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita in the 6th chapter talks about this dhyanam. 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is about meditation. And so naturally, Bhagavan talks about that how the mind should get resolved in Atma, etc. So immediately Arjuna says, my mind is too restless. I don't see how will this happen. So that time Lord Krishna says you can do it. And what are the means suggested by Lord Krishna? Abhyasa and Vairagya. You have to constantly educate your mind that because mind is getting restless because of many reasons. Mind becomes disturbed because of many reasons. The reason can be it is attracted outside, not happy with itself, or there are some other problems in the unconscious. In the subconscious, there are so many different kinds of samskaras, so many different vasanas may be there, which arises at this point. And because of that, mind just refuses to become quiet. Some or the other disturbing thoughts arise, which can become an obstacle in the quietening of the mind. We cannot force the mind to stop. We cannot do that. It is not like a switch that you switch it off and switch it on. You can't use your will over here. It has to happen. This Nirvikalpa Samadhi has to happen. And that is why we need to educate the mind. So Lord Krishna basically suggests this two method. He says, keep doing the abhyasa of Savikalpa Samadhi. Keep doing it. He says, yato nishcharati. Whenever the mind, for whichever reasons, when the mind goes outside to different objects, bring it back. How to bring it back at the same time, at that very time, show the mind, ask the mind, what is the reason to go out? What are you attracted towards? Do you know? You can have a dialogue with your mind in this manner, that you are running to this object, but it is mithya. It is not real. It is just an appearance, and what you are looking for is not out over there. It is your very self. The peace that you want, the peace, the happiness which you are craving for is not out there. It is your very self. Why don't you understand this? Please understand. In this manner, you can educate the mind and bring it back. So, abhyasa and vairagya. Vairagya means show the reality of the world. Unreality. Reality means see what the world is made. It is nothing but an appearance, and real thing is nothing but Atma, Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya. In this manner, you have to show the mind the reality of the things, the reality of the world plus the reality of the self. And then the mind will come back. Then he says, when this happens, Atma Samstam Mana Kuryat, bring the mind back to yourself. It happens in course of time. This is how Lord Krishna talks about educating the mind and continuing with this process, means this repeating this, carrying out this abhyasa in Bhagavad Gita. In Mandukya Karika, Gaudapada Ji gives very beautiful insights into the different kind of obstacles that a person faces because of the mind. He has given a very beautiful insight into this. He says mainly there are three kinds of obstacles. One is, he says, one is laya. I will explain that. One is laya, and second one is vikshepa, third one is kashaya, and even fourth one is that is rasaswada. So this mainly he has tabled these four kinds of obstacles which a person may face, and we have to understand what these four are. First of all, it is laya. First obstacle is laya. Laya means, it is something which arises from tamas. Laya means tendency to sleep, tendency to doze off. Because when the person is sitting for meditation, trying to quieten the mind, then it is quite possible that person will doze off. Everything is conducive for the person to go to sleep. So rather than meditating, we often see that people start even snoring in meditation. So this is laya. Laya means sleeping. Laya means sleeping in the sense that you are not meditating. On the contrary, mind is stilled in a different way. So then you don't derive anything. There is no advantage. You don't derive. On the contrary, the time is wasted. It is better to go to sleep and lie down on the bed and then sleep properly rather than sleeping in meditation. So this is one very, very important, very, very big obstacle on this path. What is that? Gaudapada Ji says laya. Then he says the second one, what should we do? He says laye sambodhaye chittam. When that happens, immediately address the mind. Rather than dozing off, when you feel that you are about to get to doze off, at that very time become conscious, become vigilant, and sambodhayet chittam. He says laye sambodhayet, address your mind. Get up. Get up in the sense start chanting Ishvara's name, or again immediately begin educating the mind. What is this? You have taken this time for meditation and not for sleeping. So become very vigilant, become very careful. Don't let that happen, because this is one obstacle which most of the people face. Most of the people means Jignasus or the Vivekis who try to meditate, who try to do this Samadhi. So, laye sambodhaye chittam. Then another obstacle is vikshepa. This arises from rajas. Laya arises from tamas. This vikshepa arises from rajas. All these vasanas are there. These are all stored in the mind. And this is the time when they come up. Vikshepa means disturbance. There is the disturbance in the mind itself. Those samskaras are there to go out. So moment you sit for meditation, for some minutes you may be doing it, then the mind will go out in the world, out in the objects which you like, out in the objects which you either like or you dislike. So raga dveshas are still there in the mind. So mind will run to them. It will immediately run there. So this is vikshepa. This doesn't allow you to contemplate upon the self with the help of drishyanovidya or shabdanovidya. On the contrary, you begin to think about the objects of your like and dislikes. And there are many such objects in the world, many such people in the world. So, but don't let that happen. So, how should we stop this? So, Gaudapadacharya ji says, Vikshiptam shamayet punaha. When the mind gets disturbed in this way, bring it back. Just as Lord Krishna says, Yato yato nischarati manas chanchalam astiram tatastato niyam ye tata. For whichever reasons mind goes out, address that problem and bring it back. Don't let it happen. Don't let it linger there. Bring it back immediately. Just as if the child goes out to play with the friends and the exams are coming, what will the mother do? If the child doesn't come back on his own, then she will pull him with his hand and bring him inside and make him sit on the table and study. Similarly, bring the mind back. Consciously do that. So this is called shamayet punaha. Resolve that problem. So this is the obstacle called vikshepa. Second one. Then the third one is kashaya. Kashaya is also arising from rajas. Kashaya is also nothing but impurity of the mind. See, we need not condemn ourselves. Remember this. We need not condemn ourselves that my mind is full of vikshepa. My mind is having this problem of laya. Don't condemn, but address. You don't have to condemn yourself. Don't get frustrated, but address the problem. Address it. Okay, it is there, but we have to apply ourselves. So it says kashaya. Kashaya is nothing but mala. Mala means impurities. Impurities are there. Different kinds of impurities are there in the mind. Ashuchi is there. It may be there. And it arises. The problem is that when you sit for meditation, all of this arises. Let them come. They will come. Sooner or later, you have to deal with them. So, let it come and remove them one by one. Address and let it all go. Because these vasanas are there. That is why vasana shuddhi has to happen. And otherwise, all these things are there, kashaya. Sometimes what will happen in Kashaya also, either these things come out, all the impurities come out, or sometimes what happens, mind just gets stunned, becomes stabdha. Stabdha means it is not going out to the objects, nor it can contemplate upon the self. This is a very peculiar kind of problem that it faces. It doesn't go outside, but at the same time has no enthusiasm to contemplate upon the self. He doesn't enjoy that. This should give one some enjoyment. One should love to do this, for being with the self. But that is also not happening. Mind is caught up somewhere in between, stunned. This is all nothing but Kashaya. Kashaya is because of the past, this some wrong actions that are done, wrong thoughts that are entertained. See, all those samskaras are there in the mind. So the cleansing has to happen. Otherwise, it will continue to disturb you. So Gaudapadacharya ji says, Sakashayam vijaniyat. Understand this, that mind is not having any kind of, is not deriving anything from this. Simply sitting there. Nothing is, you are not learning any lesson, which means you are not proceeding in this journey of nirvikalpa. You are not proceeding further. You have stagnated somewhere, stuck up somewhere. No. You remove whichever obstacles are there. So all this, then fourth one. First one is Laya, then Vikshepa, then Kashaya, and first one arose from Tamas, next two arose from Rajas, and the third one arises from Sattva. And what is that? Rasaswada. Rasaswada means what happens, that when the sadhaka proceeds in this line of meditation, then what he gets certain experiences. He has some, divine experiences. Now that also, this has arisen because of sattva, because of purity. He sees something, some experiences happens to him. He smells something very fragrant. He has some divine visions. And he is totally enchanted by all of that. And then what happens, he gets engrossed in watching that. He gets engrossed in enjoying that. Yes, that is the right word. He begins to enjoy that. Then what happens? The problem is, the obstacle here is, he is the enjoyer, and there is this something which he enjoys. Understand? Enjoyer, enjoyed duality is there. He feels, I am very happy. I am enjoying happiness. So he continues to remain a bhokta. Bhokta. Bhoktrutva. Bhoktrutva is there. Bhoktrutva means enjoyership is there. Now, what is the reality? What is the satya? Satyam is this, that I do not even need to enjoy. I am enjoyment myself. I am not the enjoyer of something. I am enjoyment myself. So this duality of bhokta and things to be enjoyed, bhoktrutva, vishaya of bhoga need not be there. This duality need not, I am not the enjoyer. Even that role has to be dropped. Bhoktrutva is also a need, understand. It arises from the wrong understanding that I need to enjoy something, which means when will this need arise? That I need to enjoy. When I am not satisfied with myself, when there is still some lack inside, when there is still some shunyata or some vacuum inside. So this is also ignorance. Understand? You are definitely seeing something very divine, smelling something, and totally enjoying all that. But enjoy remains. So rasaswad. This is final obstacle. And this is because of, this is Anandamaya Kosha. Have you heard of the Pancha Kosha? First kosha is Annamaya Kosha. These are 5 obstacles in knowing the Atma. First one is Annamaya Kosha, when you think I am the body. Second one is Pranamaya Kosha, when you think the prana is I. Third one is Manomaya Kosha, where the mind, you think I am the mind. Fourth one is Vijnanamaya, you think the intellect, I am the intellect. Then the fifth one is that I am enjoyer, that is Anandamaya Kosha. Even this you have to cross. This may come on your path, but don't get stuck here. Even you come across many siddhis. So many siddhis will appear before you. Just overlook that. Anima, Karima, you become small. That kind of siddhi you get. You become big. So all these different things come. This is all Maya. This is all Maya, which will trap you. This all sadhakas encounter on their path. Understand? So what does Gaudapadacharya ji says? Just overlook. Don't get stuck there. He says that even rasasvada becomes an om. So what is, how to address that? So he says na swadayet sukham tatra. Don't get stuck. Don't have the bent of mind that I want to enjoy. I want to enjoy. That is very, very inviting. It is very, very inviting. But na swadayet rasam tatra. Don't enjoy. Means don't get enchanted by that. Let it pass. Sorry. Let it pass. Na swadet sukham tatra. Then with what bent of mind? Nissangaha prajnaya bhavet. With prajnaya, with your knowledge. Bring your knowledge to bear upon this. What is the knowledge? I am full myself. I am the reality. I don't need all this. This is all drashya. Whatever is drashya, which comes before me as enjoyment, is all mithya. I am enjoyment myself. So this is prajna. This is knowledge which you must have. Bring it in action. Bring it to bear upon this time. Address. So he says nissangaha bhavet. With this knowledge become again nissangaha, unattached. I don't need anything. I am full. And nishchalam nishcharat chittam. Your mind, when it understands this, again it gets resolved. When mind is agitated, mind is not happy, then thoughts will arise. You can't help it. They just arise. Makes you bhokta. It makes you go out. But again, when you educate it in this manner, it again becomes quiet. So this is just to tell you that these are the different, mainly 4 types of obstacles which can come on your path. So remove them. Remove them. And then let that nirvikalpa samadhi happen. When the obstacles arise, address them as we have already discussed, and then remove them. So with this, 3 kinds of samadhi we have discussed, 2 savikalpa and nirvikalpa. But they were inside, Rudi, we were doing it in the heart, in the sense that when we were sitting for meditation, in the mind itself, drishyas would appear. In the mind itself, I would take the help of the words of the Shruti. So this meditation, savikalpa and nirvikalpa, was going on in the mind. Now, total there are 6 types of samadhis. 3 we have already discussed. Now the same 3 will be done outside, which means that when you are in the world and you are not, maybe you are walking outside, looking at nature or whatever, at that time also you carry out these 3 samadhis. Which are they? The first 3, which the same 3, but we did it inside, in the mind, when you were working with your mind. So thoughts were appearing and you thought in Drishyanuvidya, and in the inside these 3 samadhis were carried out. Drishyanuvidya savikalpa samadhi, Shabdanuvidya savikalpa samadhi, and third one was nirvikalpa samadhi. The same 3 now is done outside. This was already proposed in the beginning, that this 3 has to be done inside as well as outside. So now we will talk of this 3 in the with reference to bahya. So when you are out, not doing it in your mind, but when you are with the world. So let us see which are those 3. So it is said here in verse number 27. Let us do verse number 27. Rudiva bahya deshepi yasmin kasmimshcha vastune samadhiradya sanmatrat namarupa pruthakrutihi. I am reading it again. Verse number 27. Rudiva bahya deshepi yasmin kasmimshcha vastune samadhiradya sanmatrat namarupa pruthakrutihi. So, author says, Rudi iva bahya deshepi. Just as we did inside, in the same way, bahya deshepi, you do this outside also. Externally, when you are not now inside, but externally you have to do this. How? Just so now first he is discussing Drishyanuvidya samadhi outside. So what is that? How to do that? So he says, in yasmin kasmimshcha vastuni, when you see anything, when you see any object, in that carry out samadhihi adhyaha, first one. Adhyaha means which one? Drishyanuvidya samadhi. Here he is not writing that because it doesn't fit in the meter, but it means samadhihi adhyaha. Adhyaha samadhi, which means Drishyanuvidya savikalpa samadhi. You practice the Drishyanuvidya savikalpa samadhi in anything which you see. Which means what? You see, supposing this object, yasmint kasmimshcha vastuni, means in anything, any object. It doesn't matter what the object is, but what should be done? Sanmatrat nama rupa prutakrutihi. When you see an object separate, what have we to separate? Sanmatrat nama rupa. Here there are 5 things. Which are the 5 things? Asti, this we have already seen. Any object, anything that we come across has 5 aspects in them. Which are those 5 aspects? Asti, bhati, priyam. Asti means sat, bhati means consciousness, and priya means ananda. This 3 plus another 2, nama and rupa. So any object is this 5 things. In this object also there are 5 aspects. Asti, bhati, priyam, which you don't see, but it is there as the basis. And what you see is this nama called clip, and the rupa, this object. This is what you see. 5 are there, but you have to separate the first 3 from the last 2. So separate nama and rupa from asti, bhati, priyam. That is what is said. Sanmatrat. Sanmatrat means from sat, from Brahma. Call it sat, call it Brahma, call it Chaitanya. But here when you are with the world outside, we will use the word Brahma. When we were carrying out the meditation inside, we use the word Atma or Chaitanya. But now since Brahman is the substratum of the entire creation, of course of the self also, but now Brahman. So separate Brahman from this object. How to separate? We cannot really separate. Brahman is there in the form of asti, bhati, priyam. This object is. If without isness, this object could not have been. So isness is there, plus this object is revealing itself. So consciousness is there, bhati is there, plus this object is useful, it is lovable. So ananda is also there. So that is there, and this nama and rupa is also there. So when you see this object, what is samadhi in this? What is dhyanam in this? That you be indifferent to the object. Indifferent means when you are perceiving the name and form, don't miss to take note of asti, bhati, priyam. That will be the meditation. Don't miss the substratum. Asti, bhati, priyam is also there. What you don't see is there. Plus, that is the reality. Asti, bhati, priyam is the reality. It is abaditam, it won't change. This nama and rupa which you see is going to change. It is changing every moment. Plus, it is just an appearance. This object has come, it will remain for some time and it will get destroyed. What will not get destroyed? Asti, bhati, priyam. It is always there. Plus, it is changeless. And what is that asti, bhati, priyam? Asti, bhati, priyam, I. This I is Chaitanya, is Brahman. That asti, bhati, priyam is here also. It is not here and there. We cannot even say that it is here and there. That asti, bhati, priyam forms the substratum, the adhisthana for all the names and forms. Now I take this another form. Separate nama rupa from asti, bhati, priyam. This object also is, it also shines, it is also priyam, it is also ananda, and it has this name and form. This object was replaced by this object. Understand? First you saw this one. That time also we took note of, we have carried out this exercise. We took note of asti, bhati, priyam, and then this object goes. Now this is there before you. There also asti, bhati, priyam was. Even this is, it shines and is lovable. Name and form is different. Asti, bhati, priyam is the same. So you understand? Objects come and go. Objects are different. Names are different. Forms are different. What is the common factor? What is the common denominator in all of them? Nothing but Asti Bhati Priyam. Asti Bhati Priyam. Asti Bhati Priyam. In me, in you, in everyone. That is the same. So, now when you are out in the world, now when you are transacting with the world, or if not transacting, you are just walking, watching, whatever, you see with your eyes. With your eyes you see different objects. With your ears you hear sounds. With your nose you smell different things. In all of them, separate in your mind, carry out this exercise in the mind. Separate Nama and Rupa from Asti Bhati Priyam. You will see that the substratum is the same. That is the common thing. That is the common basis for everything. Names and forms come and go. They are replaced one by the other. What is irreplaceable, what you cannot negate, what is ever there is Asti Bhati Priyam, and that is Atma, that is Brahman, and that is just one. Names and forms are multiple, but they are just appearance. So don't miss the reality. What is the reality? Asti Bhati Priyam. That is Satyam, that is Brahman, that is Adhisthana. Nama and Rupa are nothing but Adhyaropa. Just as in dream, you are watching the dream. Different people come and go. All of them will not remain. Who will remain? The dreamer will remain. Follow? In this manner, when you are out, that was done when you were Rudiva, when you were seeing things in your mind. That time you carried out this Savikalpa Samadhi inside. Now Savikalpa Samadhi Bahya. Then when you do this, it is called Savikalpa Samadhi Drashyanuvidya Savikalpa Samadhi. With the difference that Bahya Deshe. With the difference that you are now seeing things outside. That was done inside, but now this is outside. In the same manner, we will do, next time we will discuss Savikalpa Shabdanuvidya Savikalpa Samadhi. This is Drishyanuvidya Savikalpa Samadhi Bahya. In the same manner, we will discuss Shabdanuvidya Savikalpa Samadhi outside. And then we will talk about Nirvikalpa Samadhi even outside. So 3 inside and 3 outside. Totally 6. So far we have discussed 4. 3 inside and 1 of the outside. Next 2 we will be discussing next time. Thank you. Hari Om. Om Purnamatah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanta Shanta Shantihi. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.